Hello everyone. So, in last module using Reynolds transport theorem we derived the continuity equation and Navier-Stokes equation. In today's lecture we will try to find the analytical solution of Navier-Stokes equations for simplified problem and for simple geometry. You can see that in last class we derived the continuity equation for Cartesian coordinate. So, this is the continuity equation for laminar incompressible flow with constant fluid properties. This is the x momentum equation, this is the temporal term, rho is the density of the fluid, and you can see this is the convective term which is non-linear. This is the pressure gradient term, mu is the viscosity of the fluid, and this is the viscous term, and this is the gravity term, and this is known as body force term. So, similarly we derived the y component of momentum equation and z component of momentum equation. So, you can see these equations are coupled and non-linear. You can also find the components of viscous stress tensor for incompressible nutrient fluid. So, these are the normal stresses and these are the shear stresses. Also you can find the vorticity component. So, this is the vorticity vector, curl of the velocity vector, and these are the components of this vorticity omega z, omega y and omega x. So, what is the exact solution of Navier-Stokes equations? So, that we can see that a solution of differential equation is said to be exact if it satisfies the equation at every point in the interior of the flow domain and the prescribed boundary conditions at its surface. As we told that only a very limited class of exact solutions exist for flow problems, and most of these are limited to laminar 1 and 2 dimensional flows with constant properties and a simple geometry. So, you can see that we can have the analytical solution for steady 1 dimensional flow. So, we can have 1 dimensional rectilinear flow. So, it represents the flow in the Cartesian coordinate where axial velocity u is function of y and other velocity components v and w are 0. So, the examples are fully developed flow between two infinite parallel plates which is known as plane Poiseuille flow, fully developed shear driven flow between two infinite parallel plates which is known as plane Couette flow. We can also have the axisymmetric rectilinear flow. What is axisymmetric flow? In the axisymmetric, the velocity in theta direction is 0 and the gradient of any velocity component or pressure in the direction of theta is 0. So, Vz is function of r and Vr is 0. So, we can have the solution for fully developed flow through circular pipe which is known as Hazen-Poiseuille flow, and we can also have axisymmetric torsional flow where V theta is function of r only and Vz and Vr are 0. So, example is a fully developed flow between rotating cylinder. We can also have the tangent 1 dimensional flow where velocity u is function of one space coordinate and time. Flow near a plate suddenly set in motion is an example of this tangent 1 dimensional flow, and steady 2 dimensional flow where velocity is function of two spatial coordinate y and z. So, the examples are flow inside rectangular or elliptical or triangular duct with uniform cross section. So, now let us consider flow inside two infinite parallel plates. The at inlet we have uniform velocity inlet, and you know that when it comes into contact with the parallel plates, obviously there will be formation of boundary layer. Due to viscous effect, you can see that this hydrodynamic boundary layer will start developing in the near to the plate region, and the thickness of the boundary layer will grow gradually. And outside this boundary layer, near to the central region, the flow will be inviscid and there will be no viscous effect. So, you can see here, this is the flow inside two parallel plates, where inlet velocity is u with uniform velocity, it is entering, and you can see the thickness of this boundary layer is gradually growing, and this region where viscous effect is not there, that region is known as inviscid flow region, and velocity is function of x y inside the boundary layer and outside obviously it is constant, and this is known as core region velocity, and you can see this core velocity will increase at different axial location as you have the boundary layer near to the wall. After a certain distance, you can see these boundary layers will merge in the central region, and after that there will be no change of the velocity profile in the flow direction. So, this region is known as fully developed region, where the velocity profile remain same, it does not vary in the flow direction, and if x is the axial direction, then in this case y is measured from the axis and u is function of y only. Okay. And you can see if the distance between two parallel plates is 2h, then this maximum hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness will be h. Okay. And this region is known as hydrodynamic entrance region, where the thickness of the hydrodynamic boundary layer increases and up to the point where it merges. So, you can see here the entrance region is characterized by the following features. The y velocity component does not vanish, that means v naught equal to 0 in the hydrodynamic entrance region. The streamlines are not parallel. Core velocity u c increases with axial direction x. So, this is the u c, okay. It increases to maintain the conservation of mass at every cross section. Pressure decreases with axial direction, that means dp by dx is less than 0, that means the flow takes place from high pressure region to low pressure region. Velocity boundary layer thickness delta is within half height of the channel, that means in the hydrodynamic entrance region delta will be less than h. Fully developed region is characterized by the following features. So, you know that this is the fully developed region. The y velocity component vanishes and v is equal to 0 in the fully developed region. The streamlines are parallel. The axial velocity u is invariant with the axial direction x, that means del u by del x will be 0, because this velocity profile u is function of y only and it does not change in the direction of the flow. So, del u by del x will be 0 in the fully developed region. Pressure decreases with axial direction, that means dp by dx will be less than 0, and velocity boundary layer thickness delta is equal to the half height of the channel, that means delta will be h. Okay. So, in the fully developed region, obviously as the parallel plates are separated by a distance 2h, so hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness will be h in the fully developed region. Now, let us consider steady one dimensional rectilinear flow, and now we will simplify the continuity equation and Navier-Stokes equation, so that we can have the exact solutions. So, first we are assuming that it is a steady laminar incompressible fully developed flow. So, you can see that we are considering one dimensional rectilinear flow, and in the third direction, let us say that in the z direction it is infinite and W velocity is 0, and the gradient of any quantity in the direction of z is 0. Okay. So, del of del z of any quantity is 0 as it is infinite in the z direction. Now, as it is fully developed flow, so we have del u by del x is 0, velocity profile u does not change in the direction of the flow. So, obviously you can see that we have del u by del x is 0 and also del w by del z is 0. Okay. So, from this continuity equation you can see we have this is 0 as it is fully developed flow, this is 0. So, we have del v by del y is equal to 0. That means, if you integrate it, v will be constant. Okay. And as we are considering, let us say that flow between two parallel plates. So, these are non-porous plates. So, if these are non-porous, then v will be 0 at the plate. So, if you can see that if v is 0 at the plate and let us say y is measured from here. So, obviously if v is 0 at the plates, then integration constant will be 0 and v will be 0 everywhere inside the flow domain. Okay. And now you can see that del of del z of any quantity is 0. So, that means we have del u by del x is 0 and we have del u by del z is equal to 0, because third direction is infinite and gradient of any quantity is 0 in the z direction. So, obviously u is not function of x, u is not function of z. So, that means u is function of y only, and as it is steady flow. So, obviously it is not function of time. So, u is function of y only. Now, let us consider the x component of the momentum equation and let us simplify this equation invoking the assumptions. So, you can see that it is a steady flow. So, del u by del t is 0 because it is a steady flow. It is a fully developed flow. So, this is 0, fully developed flow. Okay. We have seen that v is 0, w is 0. So, you can see left hand side all terms are 0, and as del u by del x is 0 everywhere. So, del 2 u by del x square is 0, del z of u is 0 everywhere. So, del 2 u by del z square also will be 0, and already we have shown that u is function of y only. So, now this partial derivative we can write as ordinary derivative, keeping that del p by del x maybe it is constant. So, we can write that left hand side is 0, right hand side minus del p by del x plus mu. Now, we will write d2u by dy square, okay, plus rho gx. Gx is the component of the g in the x direction. So, we can have the governing equation to find the velocity profile d2u by dy square is equal to 1 by mu del p by del x minus rho gx. So, in most of the flows we get that del p by del x is constant. So, this is the pressure gradient is constant. except the pulsatile flow. So, in the right hand side you can see this will be constant. So, you can integrate this governing equation and satisfy the boundary condition to get the velocity profile. Once you find the velocity profile, then you will be able to calculate the shear stress. In this particular case, when we consider flow inside two infinite parallel plates, we will have one non-zero shear stress, that is tau yx, because in this case u is function of y only and other components of velocities v and w are 0. So, we have shear stress component tau yx as mu del v by del x plus del u by del y. So, in this particular case v is 0. So, this is 0. So, tau yx will be mu du by dy, because u is function of y only. Similarly, vorticity you can write one component will be non-zero omega z, which is del v by del x minus del u by del y. So, this is 0. So, omega z will be just minus du by dy. So, if you can find the velocity distribution u, then obviously you will be able to calculate the shear stress and the vorticity component. Now, to find the volume flow rate at a particular cross section, then you can find q as just area integral u dA. Okay. So, once you integrate, then you will be able to find the volume flow rate at a particular cross section. Now, for this particular case, when we are considering flow inside two infinite parallel plates, let us simplify y and z component of momentum equations. So, you can see this is the y component of momentum equation. As it is a steady flow, this is 0, as v is 0, this is 0, b is 0 and w is 0. So, left side all the terms are 0 and we have obviously v is 0. So, all these terms are 0 in the viscous term. Okay. So, we will have only del p by del y is equal to rho g y. Okay. So, obviously, this is nothing but the hydrostatic pressure, right. So, this is your hydrostatic pressure as v is 0. Okay. And similarly, in the z component of momentum equation, this is 0 as it is steady state, w is 0. So, these terms are 0, the viscous term is also 0 as w is 0. So, you will get del p by del z is equal to rho g z. So, this is the also hydrostatic pressure as w is equal to 0. So, now we know that pressure is function of x, y and z. So, we can write dP is equal to del p by del x dx plus del p by del y dy plus del p by del z dz. Okay. So, we can write dP is equal to del p by del x. So, this we are assuming as constant, dx, del p by del y is rho g y dy and del p by del z is rho g z dz. Okay. So, this is constant, let us assume. So, if it is not pulsatile flow, then obviously del p by del x will be constant inside pipe flow. So, obviously you can see now if you integrate it, keeping del p by del x is constant, we can write p as del p by del x x plus rho g y y plus rho g z z plus c, where c is the integration constant. So, using this expression you will be able to find the pressure distribution inside the flow field. So, this is the expression for pressure. Now, let us consider plane coed flow, which is known as shear driven flow. So, flow inside two parallel plates, where one plate is moving with respect to the other. So, we are assuming steady laminar incompressible fully developed flow, and we are assuming for this particular case, as we are considering plane coed flow, pressure gradient and gravity in the direction of the flow are 0, and it is shear driven flow due to movement of plates. So, in general we are considering two infinite parallel plates separated by a distance h. X is the axial direction and y is measured from the bottom plate, and let us consider that bottom plate is moving with a constant velocity u b and the upper plate is moving with a constant velocity u t, where t represents top and b represents bottom. So, in general first we will find the velocity distribution and the shear stress distribution, and then we will calculate the volume flow rate. So, as we have seen that del p by del x is 0 and g x is 0. Okay. So, whatever governing equation we have derived, you can see that d2u by dy square is equal to 1 by mu del p by del x minus rho gx. Okay. So, these are 0 for this particular case. So, we have the governing equation d2u by dy square is equal to 0. Now, if you integrate it, so you will get, integrating this equation, what you will get, du by dy is equal to constant C1, and again if you integrate, you will get u which is function of y as C1 y plus C2. Now, let us find these integration constants C1 C2 invoking the boundary conditions. So, we have the velocities known at bottom and top plates. So, what are the boundary conditions? Boundary conditions. So, we have at y is equal to 0, u is equal to u b. So, at y is equal to 0, if you put is u is equal to u b, this will give C2 is equal to u b, and at y is equal to h, we have u is equal to u t. So, this will give u t is equal to C1 h plus u b. So, that will give C1 as u t minus u b divided by h. Okay. So, now if we put the values of C1 and C2, we will get the velocity profile as u which is function of y as u t minus u b divided by h y plus u b. Now, let us find the volumetric flow rate. So, we can find q as area integral u dA. So, let us consider that w is the width of the plates. So, in the z direction, say let us say that we have the width w which is very long, and we are considering one elemental strip dy at a distance y from the bottom plate. So, you can see if you consider this elemental flow area, so you will get dA as elemental flow area as w into dy. Okay. So, now we can write q is equal to integral u dA is w dy, and this y will vary from 0 to h. Okay. So, then you will be able to find the Q. So, let us calculate the volumetric flow rate per unit width, that means Q by W. So, it will be just integral 0 to h u, we have u t minus u b divided by h y plus u b d y. So, this will be u t minus u b divided by h integral y dy is y square by 2. So, you will get h square by 2 plus u b y. So, it will be u b h. Okay. So, you can see Q by W will be just u t plus u b into h by 2, because here h square by h will be h by 2 and it is minus u b h by 2 and it is plus u b by h. So, it will be minus u b h by 2 and it is plus u b h. So, you will get u b h by 2. So, average velocity now you can calculate average velocity. Okay. So, u average will be just Q divided by the area. Okay. So, what is the area? H into W, flow area is H into W. So, Q by W we have this expression divided by H. So, it will be u t plus u b divided by 2. Okay. So, now let us calculate the shear stress. So, we have the shear stress tau y x is equal to mu du by dy, and you can see that du by dy will be just u t minus u b divided by h. So, mu u t minus u b divided by h. So, you can see that tau y x is constant because u t, u b, h and mu are constant. So, this is constant inside the flow domain. So, we have found the velocity profile, the volumetric flow rate and the shear stress. If you see the expression for velocity profile, you can see it is a linear profile, okay, and velocity will vary from u b from bottom plate to u t at the top plate, and shear stress is constant. So, you can see that this is your variation of velocity as a function of y and shear stress will be constant. Now, we will consider 4 different cases. The first case we will consider that bottom plate is stationary and upper plate is moving with a constant velocity u. So, this is the special case where bottom plate is stationary, u is equal to 0 and upper plate is moving with a constant velocity u. So, you can see whatever expression we have for velocity distribution, shear stress and the volumetric flow rate, just let us put u t is equal to u and u b is equal to 0, then we will get the velocity profile u y. So, if you put u b is equal to 0 and u t is equal to u, so you will get just u y by h. Okay. So, it will vary from 0 at bottom plate to u at upper plate. Okay. So, this is the velocity profile. Now, if you calculate the shear stress tau y x, so it will be just mu u by h. Okay. This is also constant, and the volumetric flow rate q by w, from this expression if you put u b is equal to 0, you will get u h by 2, and the average velocity u average will be u by 2. Okay. So, now if you want to calculate the force required to move the upper plate of length L, then you can see that if you have upper plate of width W. So, let us say that this is W, top view we are seeing, and at a distance x, if you take one elemental strip of distance dx, then the area, elemental area dA will be just W into dx over the plate. So, obviously, f you can calculate as area integral tau y x at y is equal to h dA. So, you can write integral 0 to L, where L is the length of the plate, tau y x is constant, mu u by h, and we have W into dx. So, force per unit width F by W will be just mu u L divided by h. Now, let us consider the second case where both the plates are moving with same velocity in the same direction. Okay. So, that means u t and u b is equal to u. So, now we are considering u t is equal to u b is equal to u. So, this is known as plug flow, because from here you can see that your velocity u y, if you put u here, so this will become 0. So, it will be just u, and tau y x, obviously from this expression you can see it will be 0, q by w will be, from this expression you can see it will be u h, and u average obviously it will be u. So, you can see that the fluid will have the motion as a solid body, because the whole fluid will move with a constant velocity u, and hence there will be no shear stress. So, tau y x is 0. So, it is known as plug flow. The third special case we are considering, that the top plate is moving in the x direction as velocity, constant velocity u1, and the bottom plate is moving in the opposite direction as minus u2. Okay. So, u is equal to minus u2 at the bottom plate, and at the top plate u is equal to plus u1. Okay. So, this is moving in this direction, and the upper plate is moving in positive x direction. So, if you put this expression u t is equal to u1 and u b is equal to minus u2, the velocity profile you will get u I is equal to u1 plus u2 divided by h y minus u2, and q by w, shear stress tau y x will be just mu u1 plus u2 divided by h, q by w will be u1 minus u2 h by 2, and u average will be u1 minus u2 by 2. So, now you can see in this particular case, obviously inside the flow domain somewhere the velocity will become 0. Okay. So, at what distance y you will get the velocity 0, let us find. So, you can see u will be 0. So, from this expression you can see, if you put it, so it will be u1 plus u2 divided by h y when u is equal to 0 minus u2 is equal to 0. So, that will give y where u is equal to 0 will be just u2 h divided by u1 plus u2. So, you can see the velocity distribution will look like this. It is a linear profile, and at this distance the velocity will become 0, okay, at this distance. Next, let us consider that top and bottom plates are moving with the same velocity, but in opposite direction. Okay. So, we can see that it is moving with minus u. So, that means in this direction, and u is equal to u in this direction. So, obviously the velocity profile u y will be twice u by h y minus u, and tau y x will be twice mu u by h, and in this case you can see q by w, obviously this will become 0, u minus u. So, this will be 0 and u average will be 0. Okay. And where you are expecting that u velocity will become 0. So, from here you can see that u will be 0 when twice u by h y at u is equal to 0 minus u is equal to 0. So, y will be u is equal to 0 at h by 2. Okay. So, this is the velocity profile, and as you can see that you have from here upper side you have velocity in the positive direction and bottom side it is in the negative direction, and you will get average velocity as 0. Now, let us consider two layer Couette flow, where we have two different fluids inside these two parallel plates, where upper plate is moving with respect to the bottom plate. These two fluids are immiscible and having different viscosity. So, if you consider here x is the axial direction, y is measured from the bottom plate is stationary, upper plate is moving with a constant velocity u in the positive x direction, and this is the fluid A where viscosity is mu A, this is fluid B where viscosity is mu B, and these fluids are immiscible. So, the interface is located at a distance h A from bottom plate and at a distance h B from the top plate. Now, we are considering steady incompressible fluid flow. So, we have the same governing equations. So, d2u by dy square is equal to 0. So, for fluid A, just we will write this equation as d2 u A. u A is the fluid velocity inside the fluid A divided by dy square is equal to 0. Okay, this is in the range 0 to h A, and you will get the u A as C1 A, which is integration constant, and C2 A is integration constant. So, if you put boundary condition at y is equal to 0, u A is equal to 0. So, that will give C2 A is equal to 0, hence you will get u A is equal to C1 A y. Now, for fluid B, we can write the same governing equation where u B is the velocity profile inside the domain for fluid B. So, dy square is equal to 0, and this is valid in the range h A to h A plus h B. So, we will get the velocity profile u B as C1 B y plus C2 B. Now, we will apply the boundary condition at y is equal to h A plus h B, u B is equal to u. So, that will give C2 B is equal to u minus C1 B h A plus h B. Okay. So, if you put this value in this expression, so the velocity profile u B we will get as u minus C1 B h A plus h B minus y. Okay. So, now at the interface, now we will apply the interface condition. Okay. So, at interface you know that velocity is continuous, velocity will be same, and the shear stress is continuous. Okay. So, at interface, so u A is equal to u B at y is equal to h A. Okay. So, if you put it, so from this expression you can see U A will be just C1A, H A is equal to U minus C1B, H A plus H B minus H A. So, this H A will get cancelled and we will get C1A as U minus C1B H B divided by H A. Now, let us write at interface that shear stress is continuous. Okay. So, at y is equal to H A, that means at interface we have shear stress is continuous. Shear stress is continuous. Okay. So, you can see that at this point the stress from side fluid A will be equal to the stress from fluid side B. So, tau y x from fluid A will be equal to shear stress from fluid B at y is equal to H A, that means at the interface. So, you can see mu A du A by dy is equal to mu B du B by dy from fluid side B. So, obviously, if you calculate the du A by dy, you will get just C1A and mu B du B by dy will be C1B. Okay. So, C1A we have found the expression. So, you can write that u minus C1B Hb divided by Ha equal to mu B C1B. So, if you find the value of C1B from this expression, you will get mu A u mu B Ha plus mu A Hb. Okay. So, C1A you will get as mu B by mu A C1B is equal to mu B u divided by mu B Ha plus mu A Hb. So, now we have the velocity profile. So, the velocity profile in the two layers we will get u A y is equal to C1A y is equal to mu B u divided by mu B H A plus mu A H B y in the range y between 0 and H A. Similarly, u B expression we can write as u minus C1B H A plus H B minus y, and if you put the expression of C1B here, you will get u minus mu B u divided by mu B H A plus mu A H B into H A plus H B minus y in the range of y H A less than equal to y less than equal to H A plus H B. Now, let us find the shear stress distribution in the fluid domain A and B. So, shear stress you can find tau y x for fluid A as mu A du A by dy, and we will get mu A C1 A. Okay. So, you will get mu A mu B u divided by mu B H A plus mu A H B, and tau yx in fluid domain B, you will get mu b dub by dy. So, this you will get as mu b C1 b. So, this you will get mu a mu b u divided by mu b h a plus mu a h b. So, if you look into the expression, you can see that tau yx in the fluid A and fluid B are same and constant. That means, the shear stress will be constant and same value in entire fluid domain. Okay, so, that means tau yx A is equal to tau yx B for the entire fluid domain. So, now from this expression you can see the, if you want to compare the velocity gradient, say dub by dy divided by du a by dy, then it is the ratio of C1b by C1a, and this is nothing but the ratio of mu a by mu b, because if you put the expression of C1b and C1a, so you can see in the denominator these will be same, so it will be mu a by mu b. So, if you consider that the viscosity in fluid domain A is greater than the viscosity in the fluid domain B, so what will happen? So, from this expression you can say that mu A, if it is greater than mu B, then obviously du b by dy will be greater than du A by dy. Okay. So, obviously you can see that the fluid velocity is linear inside domain, fluid domain. So, obviously this will be constant in the entire fluid domain. So, obviously you can write dy by dub will be less than dy by dua. So, if your velocity is varying linearly, so you can see that this is your dy and this is your du, and if this is the angle theta, so you can see you can write dy by du as tan theta. Okay. So, you can see dy by dub will be just tan theta b will be less than tan theta a, that means theta b will be less than theta a. So, depending on the values of mu and mu b, you can see that if mu a is greater than mu b, you will get theta b as less than theta a. So, now let us plot the velocity profile for two different conditions. So, we have already found that if mu a is greater than mu b, then theta a will be greater than theta b, and obviously you can see that this is the angle for the velocity profile in fluid domain A. So, this will be theta a and this is theta b. So, obviously theta a will be greater than theta b. So, you can see that velocity is linearly varying in the fluid domain A. After that, so theta b will be less than theta a. So, your velocity profile will look like this, okay, ub in the fluid domain B. And if you consider that mu a less than mu b, so then you can show that theta a will be less than theta b. So, you can see this is theta a and this is theta b. So, theta a obviously is less than theta b. So, your velocity profile will be like this. After that, theta b will be greater than theta a. So, ub velocity profile will look like this. So, in this way you can plot the velocities in two different fluid domains. Now, let us find what is the volumetric flow rate for this two layer co-wet flow. So, in each fluid domain we need to integrate this integral UdA to find the Q. So, Q by W we can write in the fluid domain A, it will be 0 to HA UA dy, and in fluid domain B it will vary HA to HA plus HB UB dy. Okay. So, if you put the expression of mu A, you will get mu b u divided by mu a h b plus mu b h a. So, it will be integral 0 to h a y dy plus integral h a to h a plus h b, and this expression will be u minus mu a u divided by mu a h b plus mu b h a plus h b minus y dy. Okay. So, now if you integrate it, it will be y square by 2, and if you put the limits, then it will be h a square by 2. So, you can see it will be mu b u divided by mu a h b plus mu b h a. So, it will be h a square by 2, and if you see, if you integrate only the first term, so it will be u dy, that means it will be u, and if you put the limit, it will be y. So, it will be h a plus h b minus h a. Okay. So, this h a will get cancelled, then minus. So, it will be mu a u divided by mu a h b plus mu b h a. Okay. So, now we can see here it will be h a plus h b into y. So, it will be h a plus h b, and we put the limits. So, it will be h a plus h b minus h a. Okay. So, this h a will get cancelled, and here it will be, you see, minus y is there, and it will be y square by 2. So, minus we have written here. So, it will be just minus y square by 2. Okay. So, minus y square by 2. So, what is y square? Now, you can see it will be just y square will be h a plus h b square minus h a square. So, that means you can write h a square plus twice h a h b plus h b square, right, and minus h a square. Okay. So, this h square will get cancelled. You can write u h b plus this you can write as u mu b h a square divided by 2 into mu a h b plus mu b h a. Okay. And here you have minus mu a u divided by mu a h b plus mu b h a. Okay. So, here you can see it will be just, if you multiply with h b, so it will be h a h b plus h b square, and here we will have minus, right, half. So, it will be minus h a h b and minus h b square by 2. Okay. So, this will get cancelled, and you will get h b square by 2. So, finally, this you will get q by w as u h b plus u divided by 2 mu a h b plus mu b h a. Okay. And you can see here it will be mu b h a square, mu b h a square, and here we have minus h b square by 2. So, it will be minus mu a h b square. Okay. So, this is the expression for volumetric flow rate per unit width for 2 layer plane coed flow. Now, let us see the special case where we have mu a is equal to mu b is equal to mu. Okay. That means, we have same fluid in region A and B. So, in this case you will get, obviously you can see u a is equal to u b is equal to u is equal to u y divided by h a plus h b. Okay. And Q by W, you will get U Hb plus U by 2 Ha minus Hb. Okay. So, you will get U by 2 Ha plus Hb. Okay. And let us say that Hb is equal to 0 and Ha is equal to H, then you will get plane quote flow. So, you see the velocity profile will be same as the plane quote flow whatever we have derived, Uy by H and Q by W is Uh by 2. So, in today's class, first we simplified the Navier-Stokes equation invoking the assumptions, so that we can have the analytical solution. So, what we did, we converted the partial differential equation to ordinary differential equation invoking the assumptions. Then we derived the velocity profile, shear stress distribution, the volume flow rate and the average velocity for plane quote flow considering different cases. Then we considered two layer quote flow where we have two immiscible fluids of different viscosities mu A and mu B. In this particular case, we found the velocity distribution in the fluid layer A and fluid layer B. Then we calculated the shear stress distribution, and as we have the interface condition that shear stress is continuous at the interface and in each fluid layer the shear stress is constant, hence the shear stress is same and constant for the whole fluid domain. Then we calculated the volumetric flow rate inside the flow domain for two layer quote flow. Thank you.